Hello, my friends. So I got a short one for you today. I just wanted to create a little something for you guys until I can get back into my not schedule, but just get back to making regular content for you guys. So I'm going to talk about three items from Everfest that I think are pretty playable right now into Azalea and Ranger as a whole. So unless you've been living under a rock, you know Azalea is kind of the hot button item right now. She's pretty good. She went from like D tier all the way up to A, maybe even S. A lot of people are calling for bans already, which there's only been one event so far. So I don't know about that, but she seems pretty solid. She seems like she's got a lot going for her. So I wanted to kind of take a look at the card pool, figure out what we can play against Azalea, and look at relatively unplayed cards that might be able to get into your opponent's head or surprise them a little bit. And my usual suspect, I've gone back to looking at the items in Everfest because I think there's a lot of utility in them, and I think they are often under or overlooked. So, number one, we're going to talk about Talisman of Warfare. This is the kind of Arsenal Disruption card. This is another thing to note. A lot of the items from Everfest have Go Again inherently on the card, which is great. And then they have either triggered abilities or attack reactions or whatever things. You don't have to worry about paying to do them whatever later down the line. They just kind of sit on the board, and then when the trigger happens, they trigger. So Talisman of Warfare, like I said, it has Go Again. Now, one thing to note, all items have 0 blocks, so just keep that in mind when you're building your decks. But they do have, generally speaking, a pretty good pitch value. So they're either going to have 2 or 3 pitch. This one in particular has 2 pitch because it has a very, very strong effect. So it says Go Again, of course, so it refunds your action point. And when a source you control deals exactly 2 damage to an opposing hero, destroy Talisman of Warfare in all cards in all arsenals. Now, this is very important for a couple different reasons. One, the Go Again is important because it doesn't take your action point. So instead of something like Potion of Strength or Energy Potion, where you basically have to use your whole turn or end the turn with it, you can play this out front. This turns on lots of stuff. This is great in Rune Blades since it has Go Again. You're turning on Viscerize ability. You're halfway to an embodiment in Briar. The effect is pretty tuned to. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the freaking sword. Rosetta Thorn. Because Rosetta Thorn presents 2 instances of 2 damage. Now, Briar and Rosetta are going to be rotating out very soon, so keep that in mind when building your decks. But there are lots of ways that you can do exactly 2 damage in all classes. So if you think you're going to be doing a lot of instances, so like maybe Benji and Blitz, but if you think you're going to be doing 2 damage at any point, which you can kind of manipulate that with attack reactions and instants and stuff as well. But if you think you're going to be doing 2 damage at any point, this is potentially strong into Rangers, as arsenaling is very important, especially in Azalea. So one of the cool cards that I thought would be an interesting combination with this card is Pitfall Trap, which is one of the traps from Crucible. Why did I say it like that? Crucible? I was going to say Crew, and then I finished with Crucibles. Anyways, sorry about that. But this card says, so it's recently been errated, so it can only be played from Arsenal. So it used to be all traps were considered to have that effect, but now it's been errated so that the Crucible traps can only be played from Arsenal. But they instantly trigger for Riptide, so there is still some utility for them to have that tagline. But this is a yellow, so it pitches for 2. It is a defense reaction, so you do have to play it. So if you're under any kind of taxing effect, you will have to pay for it. But inherently, it has 0 cost. Blocks for 3, must be played out of Arsenal, and it says deal 2 damage to the attacking hero unless they pay 1. Now, where have I seen 2 damage before? Oh, that's right, Talisman of Warfare. Now, this is also important because, like I said, Talisman of Warfare destroys all cards in all arsenals, which includes yours. But if you're doing like Ultimate Pit Fight or anything, this also hits all of your opponent's arsenals. So theoretically, if all four players in the Ultimate Pit Fight are running New Horizons and they have 2 cards in Arsenal in all 4 slots, this card has the potential to blow up 8 cards at once. I'm just kidding, that'll never happen, but I just thought that would be funny to mention. Um, but yeah, so you can potentially mind game your opponent a little bit. Now, obviously, since you're playing this out of your arsenal, you're not going to have to worry about blowing up your own arsenal. But this also into Ranger is a little awkward because a lot of times, especially in Azalea, they're going to be swinging one big arrow. Um, or a lot of their attacks in general are coming from their arsenal. But if they happen to swing with like an Enlightened Strike or a Ravenous Rabble, because there are both of those cards are in a lot of the Azalea lists. So they play that from hand. You can trigger this. They don't have the resources to pay the one. You blow up their arsenal. You just dumpster their entire turn. Or you can mind game them. If you've done this combo once, the second time around, if you have a card in arsenal, they might be more hesitant to throw that go again attack, and they could just do their arrow attack from arsenal instead of playing the go again attack from hand, which ends up saving you a lot of damage just by the board state. But yeah, that's a fun little convo I thought up. Again, not going to be good or relevant pretty much ever, but I thought I'd mention it because it's cool, right? And that's the kind of thing I love about this game, is the cool little things, right, like that, right? So next card on the list is Talisman of Cremation. Now this is a card that I have also talked about at length before. This is great in my opinion against several decks, but I think it's really good against anybody who wants to run Codex of Frailty, which is the oh my gosh, ban it, right? Everybody is screaming, hooping, and hollering as you would about Codex of Frailty. And this is a really cool card to remove Codex targets from your opponent's graveyard. So this also has utility into Phi, into Levia, into Oldham, into even with Rites of Replenishment, even into Briar. Like there's lots of utility for this card. And you don't sacrifice a whole lot by putting it in your deck. Yes, it doesn't have a block value, but at the same time, it's still a 0-cost go again, pitch for blue, pitch for 3. So, honestly, if you're running Ninja, specifically Katsu, I think this card is a really cool include to tech against Codex of Frailty, or against Levia, or against Phi. You can banish their Phoenix Flames, stuff like that. So, because so the reason I say Katsu, right? So any ninja can use like the oh gosh, what are they called? The tigers, crouching tigers. The cards that create them in banished that you play from banished. That would trigger this, obviously. But Katsu's ability also banishes a card, as does Kano's. So there's lots of different ways to play from banished. There's also a lot of cards in that pretty much any deck has access to that allow you to banish a card and play it. Chain and Levia both are big play from banish characters. Phi plays Phoenix Forms and stuff from banish sometimes. Double Strike. There's lots of cool stuff here. But so it says it has go again. Another cool thing. Also, 0 cost pitch for 3. So you can discard this for Katsu's ability if you included more than one. You can give your Kodachi's go again with this. Just super, super good. I think this is probably going to find a home in Ninja if Graveyard Hate is going to be something that needs to happen. One thing to note, this is not a May. So anytime you play from Banish, this will trigger. And you have to be careful of that. But you can banish like Red in the Ledger, Death Touch, that kind of stuff from your opponent's graveyard, and then they have no way to recur it with Remorseless, Codex of Frailty, Remembrance. Did I say Remorseless? I did, didn't I? I'm falling apart, guys. Terribly sorry. Bit of a ramble again. but yeah, you can knock those out so that they're out of the game. This is also good against Oldham. Hit that pesky horn, the Royal Horn. You can also hit Rites of Replenishment, because the Briar fatigue lock or whatever, fatigue lock Briar, where you just Rites of Replenish, pull the other rights, and then just cycle them back and forth. You can banish those guys because it says name a card and you banish all cards with the chosen name. So that's very cool. And then finally, I know you guys need to get going, so I'll wrap this up real quick. The final one I have for you is Amulet of Oblation. Now this one is probably the least impactful into the Ranger matchup, but it's still a 0 cost 3 pitch card that has Go Again. Now this one is an activated ability. Now this one, it's done at instant speed, so this is, you can kind of throw this in any number of deck. You can use it for various things as well, right? So it says instant, destroy Amulet of Oblation. Until end of turn, target attack action card gains. If this card would be put into a graveyard, instead put it on the bottom of its owner's deck. Activate this ability only if a card is entered your graveyard this turn. Another way to remove Codex of Frailty targets. Now this does put it back into your opponent's deck. So maybe you don't want to do that. But at the same time, they can't fetch it from graveyard and throw it in their arsenal or on top of their deck or anything like that. So this is maybe something to consider if you're running into a lot of recursion in Ranger or any other deck. You can also use this as anti-fatigue for yourself to target your own attack and then just cycle it back in for later in the game. But those are the 3 cards I wanted to talk about. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you want to see any more content like this where I just pick 3 random cards and talk at the camera for about 10 minutes, let me know, because I have a lot of great ideas for niche little weird interactions like that, or something like that. Maybe I'll make a series out of it. But greatly appreciate your time. Still hard at work on the cosplay. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Please follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, because like I said, I am much more active on there, and you'll get to see some cool stuff pretty soon. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Have a great one. Probably won't be posting in the next couple days, but come Saturday or Sunday, I'll probably throw up another video for you guys. So I hope you have a good one, and thanks again for watching. I appreciate it.